Congresswoman McKinney, thank you so much for meeting with us today. It's such an honor and an historic moment. And I wanted you to share your thoughts on what today could mean. Did you want this to really overturn the vote, or did you want this to just be a day to reflect on the future of voting?
I think the importance of today is manyfold. First of all, it is truly a day that is marked in history because never before in the history of our republic have we had a member of the House and a member of the Senate come together and object to the electors of a particular state. Therefore, giving the members of the House and the Senate at large the opportunity to object and to state their reasons for the objection to the particular electors of a particular state. And so today was not necessarily about overturning the election because, of course, if you're talking legislatively and voting in the United States Congress, the Republicans have a decided majority in both chambers. So it would take a lot more heat from the American public on an issue such as this in order to get the necessary votes in order to overturn the election. But the importance of this moment is that we were given the opportunity to speak about the integrity of our democracy. In my election, for example, we used the debold voting machines. Those machines experience, now I come from the state of Georgia, and in the summertime, it gets hot in the state of Georgia. But guess what? The machines break down in the heat. The batteries die. The machines don't work. They count the vote as the vote for a candidate that voter didn't intend to vote for. All of these things and more happened to the very expensive debold machines. And then on top of that, we don't even have a voter verified paper trail that will allow the voter to know the candidate for which their vote actually was counted. So we have some really serious problems in terms of the integrity of our election process. And we've already had over 1,000 of our young men and women die in the sands of Iraq in order to promote democracy. It is incumbent upon the American people to demand that we have democracy here at home.
And I think that the American people have learned a little bit about just not that your vote can't count just that day, that democracy means leading up to the vote, who purchases the machines and caring about the vote, and afterwards making the vote accountable. But can you speak to how the importance of democracy beyond just the day that you vote?
Well, we have a process that by many standards is still remarkably open. That means that people like me who go against the grain of partisan politics, party politics, can still find a niche among the voting populace and get elected. Now, of course, we have many problems with the way our democracy, our republic, republican institutions are implemented. But at the end of the day, we do have an open process. When the American people choose not to participate, they leave that open process up to the people who do. And the people who do are the people who have a vested interest in special interests, like the people who lobby on behalf of the big, huge corporations that get the sweetheart deals that are profiteering now off of America's war against terrorism. The Carlyle Groups, the Halliburtons, the DynCorps, all of those companies that have become so famous now and infamous. Enron, well, the system is left open to them. But when the American people participate, then our system becomes stronger and becomes more accountable. How we knew about what happened in Florida was because we had nearly a 100% Black turnout in Florida. There were so many unexpected eyes and ears focusing on the process that when the scheme to deny Blacks and Latinos their right to vote was actually implemented, it was uncovered because there were too many eyes and ears looking at what was going on between Katherine Harris and Jeb Bush and all the things that happened in Florida. Just imagine if we had 100% Black and Latino turnout, voter turnout in 2004, and if we could count on that beyond. But one of the things that we also have to understand is that what happened this time around was even more egregious than in 2000. And we didn't have the support of the established leaders of the Democratic Party then, and we didn't have the support of the established leaders of the Democratic Party now. I thank goodness we have the progressive activists who are willing to take to the streets to demand voting integrity, but we should have more institutional accountability from the people who are charged to represent those activists who are out there in the streets protesting. And so the next stage is for those activists themselves to actually sign up and become candidates and run for office so that we can rock the boat in a real, true fashion.
Thank you so much. And I didn't even think of the idea that that is, instead of just voting, people should run for office. And actually, that's one of the things I always ask people. So I'm very impressed with all your thoughts today. Thank you so much. And one last question, and that is that I know that in the past that you've been supportive of reaching out to other coalitions, like I saw you speak at a Green Party event. And one thing that would help bring the activists and the different parties together is instant runoff voting. So I wanted to ask how much of a priority you're able to make this with your term.
We actually are interested in introducing a legislative package that will probably include some kind of provision for instant runoff voting. I have championed during my previous tenure in Congress the Voters' Choice Act, which would allow the election of members of Congress in districts other than single-member districts. We know that we have a winner-take-all system now, and we need to have a system that allows for representation for people across the ideological and political spectrum. And that doesn't just mean that if a candidate gets 51% of the vote, they should get 100% of the power. So I support instant runoff voting. I support any of the reforms, election reforms, including public financing for campaigns, that will democratize our system more, so that average, ordinary folks who don't have the wherewithal or the means to reach deep into their deep pockets to run for office can actually run for office and can win and represent the American people the way we should. By the way, it's not the way the Founding Fathers intended it to be. I think today is more reflective of the way the Founding Fathers intended it to be. But they also wrote that when a government fails to become representative of the people that it purports to represent, that we have not only the right, but an obligation to throw off that government and to form one that is more representative of the interests of the people. We need to do that. We can do that with the interest, cooperation, activism, and support of people who have taken to the streets against war, taken to the streets for voting integrity, and we need to do that now.
Thank you so much. And it's January 6, 2004, an historic day, and we're here with Congresswoman McKinney, and what an honor. Thank you so much.